another edition of VAFA Tragic. Great to have your company for another week. It's a weekend of VAFA football, a bit light on if you loved your VAFA football and you're checking your live scores throughout the weekend. Only 4 divisions of football to go through. A few under-19s and Club 18 games as well. But as we welcome the panel, Nick Armistead, we've got a division-focused show tonight.
We do, and I'm looking forward to Brenton stepping up tonight. It's his night.
This is my time to shine, isn't it?
Brenton, man, it is.
Fall flat on my face.
It is your time to shine. As we do every week, we're going to kick off with the Nutrients Direct Performance of the Week. To get things rolling, Nick, do you want to kick us off?
Absolutely. I'm going to UHSVU. Now, they've won 7 on the trot, with their 7th coming against the previously undefeated Glen Ira over the weekend. They were trailing by 34 points at half-time, but they kicked 12 goals to 4 in the second half, with Mitch Sweeney, Nick Devereaux and Joseph Turner kicking 3 each. So UHSVU get my
A
performance
team
of the
one.
week.
Just the general team. Brenton, who have you got?
I've gone from Danny King from North Old Boys, St Pat's, Brunswick. That's a massive name to go with in their win over Paran to keep their relegation hopes or promotion or just going to...
Avoidance of relegation.
Avoidance of relegation hopes alive as they chase Parade down. Danny King, BOG, fantastic work.
Yeah, I'm going with Bill Irving, the West Brunswick stalwart, of course, a 2-time section best and fairest winner. Kicked 8 goals on the weekend, and I'm sure he's going to feature as we run through each of the divisions. And we may as well go straight. So that's the Nutrients Director Performance Play of the week.
Nutrients Director.
And we've got, great to have them on board. We're going to roll straight into it. We're going to kick off with Division 1. We're going to take a look at where it's placed in a final situation. Nick, do you want to kick us off? Old Mentonians currently on top of the table in Division 1.
Game clear, and they look like they're going to stay there, in my opinion. Darcy Brown's been the man up forward with 49 goals, closely followed by Kyle Conlon, who has 34. Tim Wilton's been a superstar. He's been in their best 7 times. They've got 2 extremely hard games to come. They do have Old Geelong, who, as we know, are in form, and Therapanola. They're both at home, though, for Old Mentonians. So I think, for me, they're 2 wins, and they're looking very good to stay on top.
I'll roll into Old Geelong, who sits second on the ladder. The boys from Como Park. George Burberry's been fantastic for them. Just 9 games this year for George. He's just been in and out. I don't know what he's been doing with his time. But he's kicked 33 goals, nearly averaging 4 goals a game. Carl Joyce has been fantastic, 7 times in their best. And Callum Wood, we all know about. He's had his names up in lights there at Como Park for a long, long time. I've got them losing to Old Mentonians and beating Pegs, and they'll hold on to second spot.
Moving on to Pegs in third spot now. Stay watching Pegs, viewers. Hopefully you don't drop off and adjust your sets as I run through this. Trent Scurry, who's been our Nutrients Director Performance Player of the Week a couple of times, I think, this year, with 57 goals leading the way. Brad Jones has been important for them as well. And I've loved the work of Rob Badley as well through the middle of the ground there for Pegs. However, their run home, St Mary's Salesian, who I feel are coming, and Old Geelong, I see them losing both of those games.
That's a big call.
It's
a big call, given the form that St Mary's is in.
We'll talk about it in a second when we get to the finals machinations.
Yep.
But rolling on to Therapanola.
Yes, Therapanola, the boys from the north. Jared Bannister has been fantastic again for them, 63 goals. Brock Edelson, brother of Jared Eggleston, who has been a stalwart at Therapanola for a long, long time. He's been in their best 8 times. And Benjamin Ratcliffe has been in their best 7 times. They've got Paran and Old Mentonians on the way home. I'm going to give them Paran, and they'll lose to Old Mentonians.
Seems to be the way. Now, St Mary's Salesian, there's still a chance to sneak in there. After being on top of the table at round 10, they lost a number of games in a row, but they've bounced back recently. Big win on the weekend by 125 plus points around that order of the day. Jack Elliston, 7 times in their best and fairest, has been a star. Michael Dolan's kicked 37 goals, 6 times in the best, and Mitchell Woods, 10 times in the best, has been fantastic. I mentioned that game against Pegs in round 17. It is going to define their season. If they don't win that game, St Mary's, I can't see them getting into the 4. I think they will win it, and they've got Paran in round 18 to round it up. So that round 17 game, huge. That sees the finals this way. Old Mentonians and Old Geelong, I think in the second semi-final, those 2 teams have been top of the table and the 2 best all year. St Mary's Salesian then will be in 3rd spot, according to my calculations, with either Pegs or Therapanola, depending on percentage, to take that 4th spot. Both I see them on ending on 48 points or 44 points rather, or thereabouts. So it'll just come down to, I guess, how Therapanola go against Paran in round 17.
A lot of faith in a very plucky St Mary's side.
St Mary's, I think, at their
on
best.
On top after round 10, and they've just fallen away a little bit.
So,
But,
you don't see it happening?
No, I see Pegs beating them this week, and I don't think St Mary's will make it. I think it'll be Old Mentonians, Old Geelong, Pegs, and Therapanola.
I'm with you, but I agree that it's probably the biggest game of Division 1 this year, this weekend, between those 2 sides.
Moving on to Division 2. Hope you stayed with us, Pegs and Therapanola fans. And St Mary's, I'm sure I'll be getting nice thank you phone calls from them. But they've still got to go out and do the job on the weekend. Division 2, kicking off with St John's. I've taken St John's away from you, Brenton, if that's all right.
An invested interest, so
but
yeah,
Nick,
that's
we'll
fantastic.
let you take us through St John's.
Well, St John's, there's not much more to say. They've been the dominant force, really, this year in Division 2. Aaron Thornton does it every year. He's kicked 56 to this stage of the year. They've got Corey Eli, a midfielder. He's been 8 times in their best. He's kicked 9 goals from their 13 games. And Glenn Costas, he's the inspirational skipper. He's the one that'll lead them come September. He'll be the one leading from the front, hitting Aaron Thornton on the chest. He's kicked 9 goals and he's been in the best 8 times.
West Brunswick, I think they're a super side. They're going for 3 in a row. Billy Irving, we mentioned Nutrients Direct Performance Player of the Week for him. He kicked 8 goals last week and he's kicked 33 for the season from his 12 games. Of course, he is a section best and fairest winner twice in the VAFA, winning a Hutchison and Meehan medals back in 2006 and 8 respectively. A huge impact player for them, will be important coming the closing rounds and finals. Evan Lloyd has also been important with 11 times in the best, just a stellar defensive unit. And Henry Pays has missed a lot of football this year. Only played the 8 games but been in the best 7 times. He missed the whole month of June. I'm not sure if that was for travel or if it was an injury.
European summer, maybe?
Yeah, perhaps. But West Brunswick, I think they'll be all right. They'll finish in second spot.
I'll go move right along to Preston Bullants. They're sitting 3rd on the ladder. Olsen Clark has been fantastic for them this year. Damon Marcon is an absolute jet goal-kicking midfielder and does it when the whips are cracking at the end of the year. Reed Jepson down back is fantastic key defender, one of the best in Division 2, and they've got a run home of Emmaus St Leo's and Eltham, a nice cushy run home for the boys from Preston, and I've given them both those wins, and they're going to finish 3rd for the year.
Well, I've got Yarra Valley now. They're one team of 2 that could possibly make this 4. The pressure's on them. They've got Benjamin Trent. He's been their best player nearly this year. Ryan Pollard. He's been in the best 7 times. He's a rebounding defender. Constantly hits up. Our man, Jordan Canham. He's kicked 33 goals. Much like Aaron Thornton, he's the man that they need to step up to in September. They've got Melbourne High School All Boys, who they're fighting with, and they've got Bulleen. I've got them losing to Melbourne High, and I've got them beating Bulleen, and it's going to really come down to percentage.
Melbourne, I'll roll right along to the boys from the Unicorn Club and Melbourne High School All Boys, who Rex Gaven's been fantastic for them. Kane Smith as well. Andrew Villani, the ranger from the north, he's been fantastic. He's recently got engaged, old Andrew Villani, a good mate of mine, and his brother Stephen will be fantastic as well, along with Panda Hawking. But those boys from the Unicorn Club, I don't see them getting over Yarra Valley. They've got Yarra Valley and West Brunswick. I'm going to give them both those losses, and they're not going to make the 4.
Yeah, it's tough to take for Melbourne High School. That would leave second semi-final St John's, West Brunswick. I did forget to mention St John's and West Brunswick play next round.
Yes,
so massive game. It's not going to change the way that the ladder goes necessarily.
Is it a precursor?
But yeah, just a little precursor to the second semi-final. And Preston going for a 3rd premiership in 4 years up against Yarra Valley in that first semi-final.
Div 2 like Div 1. It's going to be very exciting, especially with West Brunswick and Preston in the kind of form they're in.
That's we're halfway through our divisions preview towards the rest of the season and the finals. We'll take a quick break, come back with more of the headlines in Divisions 3 and 4 right after this.
Anytime is the right time to get fit at Anytime Fitness. Access over 400 gyms across the country 24/7 and discover why more Australians train at Anytime Fitness than any other gym. Go online and register now for your free 7-day pass and feel something better.
Welcome back to VAFA Tragics. It's time now for the headlines. Here's Nick Armistead.
Thank you, Andrew. As reported on Monday evening's HQ News, over 30 people have already signed up to take part in the Thick and Thin Mental Health First Aid course since their inaugural Pie Night 3 weeks ago, with more than half of VAFA clubs partaking in Thick and Thin round this weekend. Show your support by getting down to a game and raising the awareness of positive mental health discussions. Now, also on this weekend, Pegs will be hosting a Pride Game luncheon from 12 p.m, supporting the St Kilda Pride Game against Sydney in the AFL, as well as to promote diversity and inclusion in our game. Players from both Pegs and St Mary's will wear rainbow-coloured socks and rainbow laces in a show of support for the Pride Game. Attendees will include both Pegs, VAFA and St Mary's reps, as well as guest speakers, provide personal experiences of what Pride means to them, as well as participating in a panel interview. And that's it for this week's headlines.
I think St Mary's in their Pride socks will definitely beat Pegs.
Big day for Pegs, big day.
It is a big day. On to Division 3. As if you're just joining us, they couldn't just be joining us. They wouldn't scan to halfway through a YouTube video. You idiot. Division 3. We'll take a look at Division 3. And kicking off with Hawthorn, who are currently on top. They usurped Glenara last week when Glenara had their first loss of the season. The Hawks moved to the top spot, but their big players, Jason Ince, Sam Gold, Dave Kennedy, they've been their big players for a number of years through their climb through the sections, and when they came runners up to West Brunswick a couple of seasons ago in Division 4, these guys were the guys that were carrying them all the way to that grand final. They didn't quite get that silverware they wanted. They're a big sniff to do so this year. Their run home is Aquinas and Glenora. They probably win both of those games in the run home. In fact, that's not their run home. Yeah, run home. Aquinas and Glenora. I've got them winning one and losing to Glenora. I'll catch up sooner or later. So Glenora probably returned to top spot with that win over Hawthorn. They did go down to the Saints in round 10 earlier this year.
Yeah, only by 13 points, so it's going to be a very, very tough ask for Glenora, who I think will go back on top spot. I think they'll get their run home is Swinburne and Hawthorn, and the likes of Julian Waras Karastensen. That's a tough one to get out. Julian Waras Karastensen, Andrew and Flowerdo, who was formerly from Monash, and Nathan Dennis will carry the boys from the Velodrome home back to top spot.
I'll take your boys from the Velodrome, and I will raise you Latrobe, who are absolutely flying. 10 of their last 11. They're locked in for third. Mitch Gleeson has been the man. He's been the man of the moment. He's kicked 66 goals. He's leading Division 3. Michael Burrows has been fantastic. Elliot Kelly, he's a VAFA media favourite. He's a fantastic young lad. Their fullback, Matt Kay and Jacob Christie, are two players who are highly underrated, but they're two that will take them deep into September, perhaps to a preliminary final. And UHSVU.
Before we go to UHSVU,
Yep.
Latrobe, could we see them petitioning for a night final? I know they've got the night facilities out there. I'm not sure. We could see a first VAFA night final.
That would be fantastic. VAFA media will surely.
It would be
head
fantastic.
right
Well,
down to
they held the under-19s there on Friday night, and they played Swinburne there on Saturday night, and the seniors, and by all reports, everything went fantastically, so that would be great to see.
Not sure.
We'll move on to UHSVU, 7 in a row. As I mentioned earlier in the show, they defeated Glenora. Nick Devereaux's been fantastic. Sequoia Rawson-Smith and Ethan Clark have both been fantastic during this 7-game run. These two sides, both Latrobe and UHS, won't move. They'll be 3 and 4 come the end of the season.
Stephen Clark at South Melbourne, no relation to Ethan at UHSVU, at least I believe. Jeremy Corby and Jason Clifford are the keys at South Melbourne. The old bloods from South Melbourne are doing a great job bouncing back after what has been a couple of tough years for them before they drop back to Division 3. They've made a good run of it. They're going to play finals. I don't think they'll do too much damage, but I do see them probably dropping their game to Latrobe and winning against Swinburne, which will be enough to lock them in for 5th spot.
We'll move right along to Powerhouse, who are one of the form sides of Division 3 after their jumping into the 6th after their win over Canterbury on the weekend, and their 3 most important players that's going to hinge their finals hopes are going to hinge on these 3: Adam Collette, Ben Secosta, and Stephen Devine. And their run home is Parkside and Elstonwick. I'm going to give them both those wins, and they make the top 6 after winning 4 on the trot.
Unlucky for Canterbury. You mentioned that game against Powerhouse last week was a big game. Canterbury's run home, UHSVU, which is going to be tough. I think you mentioned, Nick, they've won 7 in a row now, UHSVU. The Vultures and
injuries have hit the club as hard. 4 and zip to start the year, and they've gone 3 and 9 since then.
Yeah, it's really tough ask. So those finals with the final 6, of course, if you don't know, 1 versus 6, so that'd be Glenora versus Powerhouse according to the calculations. Yes. Hawthorn versus South Melbourne, and Latrobe versus UHSVU.
And the lowest 2 losers drop out.
Lowest 2 losers drop out. So double chance only for the top place side. And we've seen that already in the final 6 over recent years. With
do enjoy the final 6.
Oh, it's a great system. Some people don't like it, but I really love it. I think it's a really good system.
And is it Hawthorn Glenora?
In the grand final?
In the grand final?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think so. They've been the 2 form sides of the competition.
One of the uni sides can push with their form?
Not when.
Yeah, it's hard to say. When teams get on a roll like that, you don't really know. That's the question, isn't it?
Finals time can throw up a few curveballs, and we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, Hawthorn Glenora. We didn't mention our grand finals in the other sections, but probably Division 2, St John's and West Brunswick, do we think? Or can Preston sneak in there?
I think Preston can sneak in there, and Yarra Valley on their day really pushed St John's a few weeks back, and they're right in it.
But realistically?
Realistically, I think it's West Brunswick and St John's.
I agree.
Yeah, West Brunswick, St John's. And in the top Division 1?
Well, I think Pegs is going to be there. You don't even think Pegs will be 4.
Pegs' best can match, if not usurp, Old Mentonians. I like the word he used. You see usurp. You used it before.
Yeah. Old Mentonians, Old Geelong. I don't think that changes necessarily, but look out for St Mary's. The Saints are coming. On to Division 4. We can't forget Division 4. Nick, tell us about Westbourne Grammarians and how they're the only undefeated side remaining at senior level in the VAFA.
They are, and congratulations to Westbourne for that feat. It's fantastic. Dale Collins has been the man in front. He kicked 72 goals. He's currently 2nd. Will Dawson passed him from Point Cook over the weekend with a massive bag, but he kicked 108 last year, Dale Collins, so he's in fantastic form. final. Darren Morris is also their ruckman. He's very mobile, and he'll be someone that he's been at the forefront so far this season. But when September comes around, he'll be giving those midfielders first use. And then Ali Akbar is someone that we've mentioned once or twice. He's only played the 6 games, but he's kicked 16 goals, and he often outscores the big man Dale
I think
Collins.
he kicked 7 on a day.
He did.
Ali Akbar, yeah.
He did. He can really turn it on his day.
New-
They've got
Hang on,
Manningham
so-
and
sorry, he's kicked 16 goals in 6 games, including 1 bag of 7. So he's kicked 9 in his other 5.
That for
He's not
Tragics
exa- he's not-
conscience, Andrew
He's
Lennon.
not exactly dominating in the other 5.
He's a nutrients direct performance player, Andrew. This is a man that's going to get done win the business end of the season.
Good on you, Ali. Keep going. Yep.
absolutely. Well, the run home for Westbourne is Manningham and Mount Lilydale. Mount Lilydale are going to be in the top 4. Manningham have been about 5 or 6. They're actually playing quite well. Obviously, I don't see them losing a game for the rest of the season. They'll go win-win.
Point Cook, I think, will put up a very good challenge in that second semi-final when it's run and won. Will Dawson, you mentioned him, 74 goals this year. Robbie Milne's been fantastic, 10 times in the best. And Mason Kipp, who's been a really good player for Point Cook over a couple of years. Masala and North Brunswick is their run home. They probably win those two. It's not going to make an impact on the way the ladder finishes, but they'll be big challenges in September.
Ely Park Sharks, 3 most important players in the finals this year will be Noel Barnson, who's kicked 34 goals for the year. Owen Dixon has been their best 10 times. That's a fantastic effort. And also Patrick McMahon has been in the best 8 times. They face North Brunswick and Box Hill North. I'll give them both those wins and they'll be locked into 3rd spot.
Well, I will bring you Mount Lilydale. It's been fantastic. I love the Rams. They've been fantastic down there at Mercy College. Adam Thorne has been at the leader. He's been in the best 11 times, as has Tom Bailey 10 times. But it's really been Maxie Hampton, who's kicked 34 goals. He's been fantastic down there. They've got the bye this weekend. They've got Westbourne, which will likely be a loss. It won't change their position, 4th on the ladder. So the first week of finals will be Westbourne versus Point Cook, and it'll be Ely Park versus Mount Lilydale.
Just on Mount Lilydale, they lose to North Brunswick last week. They got a bye and then got to face Westbourne coming into the finals. That's a tough couple of weeks coming up for Mount Lilydale.
They got completely outplayed, but it didn't help that Captain Sam Hickey was missing on the weekend. He is an inspirational leader down
Hinging on
there.
one player.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely
One
not.
player makes a big difference. We see it all the time.
It's true.
Look at Nick Rewell at St Kilda. Not this is St Kilda show, but the finals will be Westbourne Point Cook. Westbourne will win. It will be Ely Park Mount Lilydale. I think Mount Lilydale will get it done, but I think Westbourne are the team this year. I think they're going straight up with the premiership.
Yeah, I think they win it after a bit of a hiccup last year.
Oh, yep. It's a few curveballs at Mayes versus West Brunswick last year. Mayes hadn't lost the game. West Brunswick
I
got them
think-
by a point on grand final day. So
I think the
never know.
Grammarians go up next
Absolutely.
year. That's it. That's the wrap of the divisions. It's been great. I understand the BAFA are working closely with a number of venues about where finals will be hosted. We'll hopefully get that information to all of you out there who are hoping to see where you'll be playing your first finals in a couple of weeks' time. Don't forget, it's Club 18 preliminary final this weekend with the grand final the week to follow, and then, of course, a couple of thirds grand finals before we roll into the senior footy finals in September. Looking forward to it. Thanks again for joining us again, guys.
No worries. Thanks, Andrew.
Thanks, Andrew. I've really enjoyed this division show.
It has been
Yeah.
excellent. We're back with a full show next week on The Tragics. We'll speak to you then.